So thank you for agreeing to do a little Q&A on camera as well. I had like loads of questions throughout the session, but I was trying to keep like a mental note of them so that everyone could like kind of hear them be answered on camera as well.
Sure.
But yeah. So one of the main ones I had was how can anyone watching kind of incorporate this into their lives at home? Like how, if you can't have a professional like colour consultation like this, do you have any tips or like recommendations for how someone can try this out themselves?
Yeah, sure, definitely. So you can just experiment with things that you've got in your wardrobe already. So most of us have different types of colours in our wardrobes. I mean, oftentimes people wear black, and grey and white and, you know, sort of neutrals. The best ones to experiment with are definitely the colourful tones, but most of us have a few of these things, right? Like you had a few different shades of blue, and it doesn't matter if they have patterns. It's a little bit easier if they don't have patterns, like plain colours. But even if all you have is black, as you remember, each black was still creating a different effect. So even if all you have is black, you can still kind of put a couple of them on top of each other, peel the top one off, put it back on, put it off, on again. And as you're doing that, you're just staring at your face in the mirror, ideally set up by a window where you've got natural light. And then you're just looking for the optical illusions that the different colors are reflecting onto your face. So even if you don't know if this is a cool tone black and the one underneath it is warm, or this is darker, this is lighter, or this is gray, or this is more colorful, because it's black, it's too hard to kind of reconcile how it might harmonize.
Yeah.
You can just create a pile of like, okay, I compared like 10 blacks to each other, and here's the order of how good they are and how bad they are. You know, you can put them in order because you can still make the observations. And then once you do that with different types of colors, like say you get all your reds out from the cupboard, and by red I mean pink, purple, peach, you know, these are like red categories. And then you can get out your blues, which are teals, blues, like the royal blues, navies, all this kind of stuff. So same color families, even purple blues, as long as it's not fully purple, you can just get them out. And then compare them to each other, and then trying to find the ones that illuminate your face the most without casting redness, yellowness, grayness, too much shine or sort of texture, like the muddiness that we've been seeing with the autumn colors. So you're just comparing them even without trying to label them, you know, because even if I didn't tell you whether this one we're comparing cool or warm, if we were just comparing like two colors to each other, we could still see the difference. Like, do you remember the time when I couldn't remember which blue was which, you know? I just collected some springs or something like that, and I'm like, oh, I forgot which is the bright spring and which is the light spring or something like that.
Yeah.
It was almost helpful because we couldn't like preempt what we're going to see. We literally had to just trust our observation. So yeah, 100% you can do that at home. And once you created yourself some piles, like this was my best blue, or these pinks looked really good, and here's the black that looked good, or here's the whites that look good, and then here's the stuff that looked bad or worse, you know, or the really bad stuff, like you can still create little piles within the stuff you've got.
Yeah.
And then you can start analyzing backwards, like, okay, so my better pile, whether it's perfect yet or not, it doesn't matter, but within your wardrobe already, you can probably start creating hierarchy, just like how we did with the clothes that you brought. We started seeing differences and creating some kind of hierarchy, like the scoring system, you know, because that helps you sort of navigate your scale of, you know, like your dimensions, color dimensions. And yeah, I reckon you can do that without having to know. And then if you have a pile and it looks, oh wow, all my best colors are really soft and grey and muted, then you can kind of explore maybe the soft seasons, or if it's the really clear ones, or really vivid and dark ones, you know, you might start to get clues, but I wouldn't try to pre-guess it, because you've seen what happened when I tried to pre-guess it between the three springs. You know, the springs were saying, you got it wrong, stop guessing, keep testing, you know. So yeah, testing is the best way, and you don't need to have labels for you to like just start gathering data and learn something about your colouring.
Oh, thank you, that's really interesting, and I'm sure it's like really helpful for everyone watching.
My pleasure.
Yeah, thank you. So another one I had been thinking of is like, how do you train your eye to see all the colours so quickly? Because like, I mean, I did find it a lot clearer when we were looking at it, like seeing the redness on my face and things like that, but it did take a while for my brain to almost catch up to see these differences.
Yeah, it's quite a lot to take in one session, and of course my sessions are really long. They normally take a good half a day. So it's like a mini crash course, you know, so it's a lot of computation for your brain. But yes, it's, you know, the neural pathways are just muscles, you know, or they are like muscles, you know, that the more you practice, the more they understand the kind of exercise they need to do. And then the faster you get at it, basically. But even just during the 4 hours or 5 hours we had together, you picked it up, like you got better and better and better as we went. So the session is built in this way, you know, that you get good at it by the end, because, you know, towards the end when we need to do the swatching is when it's really important. But yeah, you can also do exercises like I definitely did some kind of color, like eye test, color test type of exercises. The one that I really like and recommend to a lot of people is called Farnsworth-Munsell 100 test. And it's basically, you've got 100 colors and you order them sort of like they are equally spaced out, so the differences are sort of equal visual distance, and they all scrambled up, like mixed up, and you have to put them in order of how they transition from like purple to red, from red to green, from green to blue, from blue to, you know, yellow or something. So it's like a full spectrum on a medium grey intensity, so it's like sort of the fixed intensity, but it's a very useful test, because when you do it at first, it gives you a score. It tells you if like there are certain colors that in between you can differentiate a little bit worsely, you know. And then yeah, I think if you do it a little bit more, you know, it shows you where you've got it wrong.
Yeah.
And then you can kind of, you know, look at those differences a little bit harder and see like, oh okay, you know, those two are the other way around. And then, you know, you can probably spot it that, oh okay, unless you're colorblind, in which case there might be a little bits of gaps that's difficult to overcome. But generally speaking, it's just a few practices and then you get better. And swatching, I feel like the more you swatch, the easier it gets. Yeah.
Thank you, that's really interesting.
Yeah,
hopefully I can train myself to get a bit better.
Yeah, I think the more you use your swatches, the better you will get. Yeah.
Right, so I'm trying to think of another one I had. Does like, say for instance tanning or maybe like aging like affect your color palette at all?
Yes. Tanning is a like a facultative, I think that's what they call it, sort of change to your skin tone, which means it's temporary, you know. It just like you tan but then it fades back out. And it does actually change your darkness level, because the more melanin you have in your skin, the darker your skin appears. That normally, in my experience, just influences your contrast levels, because of course when you tan, your skin becomes darker. So that changes the contrast, you know, between say your brows and your facial skin, you know, your skin and your eye color, your skin and your lip color, you know, the contrast levels sort of shift a little bit. And you might want to adjust how you wear colors, like on your lips for instance, and also like near your face. You might choose to wear slightly lighter or darker colors from your palette normally. Like you don't sort of suddenly become a lot warmer just because you have more melanin, because you're still producing the same type of melanin in the same type of ratio. So it's not really going to kind of unless there's some kind of medical problem, it's not really going to kind of change how warm or cool you are in terms of your undertone, but it will change your darkness level, which in turn I think influences how you kind of manage your contrast levels. So in my case, I can speak from my experience, I tend to wear lighter colors from my palettes when I get a bit darker, because the contrast level decreases in my face a little bit more, you know, like my lips become a little bit more blended in with my skin tone because my skin is fairly medium already. So I just wear sort of slightly lighter, they're still very colourful colours, but slightly lighter options from my palette than what I would wear normally when my skin is a little bit lighter. But for different people it might be different, like if they already have a really dark skin, or I don't know, it's probably a little bit personal, but I would say that you definitely notice a difference, and then you would adapt kind of like colors. Maybe you enjoy like your pink shades more when you're really pale, and your warmer orangey shades more when you're darker, but that could be personal to you. It won't be necessarily true for every single light spring coloring, or not even a general rule. So
that's really interesting. So does age affect it as well, or?
Yes, so age is similar in a way that as we age we produce less collagen in the skin, so that means that it's less kind of plump, and as the sort of collagen starts going away from our skin, the skin becomes a little bit thinner, so it starts to show a little bit more blood vessels, so we start to become a little bit more pink, maybe we see more under eye circles, more veins, things like that, at least in the areas where the collagen is disappearing the fastest. So of course that puts a little bit more color on your face, so that will, maybe you start using less blusher, or maybe you're a little bit more careful with exactly what colors you put near your face, because you want to focus on the ones that really smooth out your skin and prevent under eye circle appearances and things like that. So I would say that's to do with collagen. So if you kind of manage your collagen production, make sure that you keep doing it, then your skin becomes thicker, and then it's less fluctuating in terms of the overall skin evenness. And medication and medical conditions can actually affect your skin tone as well. I'm just going to throw it in there because occasionally I have clients who have sort of melanin type of melanin related conditions, like medical conditions. I know smoking can kind of grey your skin and teeth and things like that. So these things, and then certain medication can kind of really change the appearance of your skin colour. So these things can actually influence and sometimes make the analysis harder, but it does influence your appearance a little bit. So normally all it means is it restricts your palette even more, so it just reduces your range within your palette, because you just have to be a little bit more precise and neat and kind of careful, at least in my experience. But I don't think I haven't studied like specifically this stuff, so
it's really interesting though. Like I like how there's so much science behind all of it. I'm trying to think what my other one was. So what is your colour? What's your palette?
Ooh, good question. It's guessable, but it may not be your first instinct, so I'll let you have a guess. I know it's not guessable in terms of like, I don't recommend guessing seasons, but just for fun. What would you guess? Light spring?
I don't know. I can actually like...
Yeah, you can have a look.
I feel like there'd be bolder colours there. Like...
Yeah, hold it and see it in my context. See if you think it's enough or not.
No, I think they'd have to be like strong, like more like stark colours.
More?
Like the ones that weren't matching me, probably like more winter. But
good.
Yeah.
Good direction.
Okay. Winter, autumn, winter. But I'm not sure, like, within winter, which direction it would be.
Yeah, it is. My colouring is winter, and I do look a little bit stereotypical winter because I've got dark hair, fairly good medium dark skin, dark eyes, so that's definitely sort of like up into the sort of starker colourings. And most people would guess that I'm a dark winter because I've got so many dark features, but I'm actually not.
Oh, okay.
Let me show you. Here we go. This will be interesting. So these are bright winter colours, and these are the type of colours that I wear. Oopsie, I'm making a lot of noise. I don't know if you can see, but this top that I'm wearing actually is not a winter colour, but I like to wear it behind clients. But you probably haven't even seen me with my colours, have you?
Oh wow, yeah. I can see it all popping instantly.
What do you think?
Yeah, I love this one on you.
Yeah, that really goes. And I normally wear fuchsias. I test with this, but I normally wear the Fuchsia the Cooler range in my palette.
Oh, that one's lovely too.
Mm-hmm.
Like a dress like that or something. Yeah, I can really, really tell, like, compared to when I had this one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Like
and even
ones.
this one that I have, I think is a summer coloring, but I like to have this behind clients when I'm testing and analyzing, so I basically sacrifice my appearance, but it's very important for me that I control the environment, because that can also influence how easy the consultation goes. If I put a really stark color, because winter coloring is very stark, so if I'm wearing a gray that is from winter, behind you it might have been so stark that it might have been too distracting. Maybe it would have been too hard to reduce all of that redness, if I'm always projecting it from behind. Yeah.
Oh, well, it's nice to see your colours as well.
Thank you. Thank you.
I think that leads me very well into my next question, which is, if you look at people, can you kind of guess their season quite well, having done this for like many years?
Good question. The answer is no. As you saw earlier, even when we were so close to your, to your result, when we reduced all of the options down to the 3 springs, I wanted to discard the one that you ended up being. I was like, oh, we're going to lose light spring, it's going to be so easy to lose, let's compare it to things. And it just didn't. It just said, no, I don't think so, And we could, of course, see it. And luckily, we are here to kind of listen to the drapes. They are the ones telling us what we need to see and showing us what we need to see. So it's good that we've been able to sort of override any preconceived ideas that we might have collected along the process, because as we are processing, of course, the mind wants to jump ahead and guess things, so that's why we were thinking, oh yeah, we'll compare the 3 springs, we're going to lose light spring, and then we'll do this, That's not how it went, did it, So, no, I don't know, I can't normally guess. It's because people aren't so straightforward. Like, first of all, let's say you walk into the room, your hair is dyed, that's affecting your appearance. Then you're wearing a dress, that's affecting your appearance. So immediately I'm looking at you, and I can see that there is some kind of stuff going on, because the dress and the hair don't even go together. I don't know which one is working better for you, and I don't even know how close they are, to your coloring. So the guessing would be just so much computation, for my mind. It would be too difficult to sort, I think. So yeah, I can't guess it. Not well enough anyway. Occasionally I make little like mental bets, halfway through the like when we were like looking at all of the cool tone seasons, comparing them to warm, and I could tell that, oh yeah, she's gonna be warm tone, because every time we're comparing warm and cool, it's always the warm ones that are doing better. Not every intensity level was sort of equally wow, but we could see a consistency. So like I was not surprised. Like if I had to bet money after like seeing 2 lots of cool to warm comparisons, I probably would have put a little bit of more money on the warm, So I can kind of make little guesses, but especially near the end, I find that very difficult, because we are now so close and the differences are so little. The only way to just get it right is to really look. So that's probably the place where we shouldn't be guessing, and I tried and it didn't work. So it's just a reminder that like, don't rush it, don't guess it, like test, keep checking, comparing, like it's like a game, isn't it? It's just a little bit of exploration fun, and then the colors will tell us what they want to say. So
Oh, thank you.
But I do find it easier to see if something is off. I won't be able to necessarily then extrapolate that all the way to, oh yeah, because their season is this. But I have had clients walk in, wearing some kind of jewellery. Like I had one soft summer client, and she was wearing, I don't know, like maybe a bright spring kind of really strong gold necklace, and I could just see that it's so separate from their neck, so I could tell that, okay, she's definitely not going to be super warm because that one is sitting on top, or if she's going to be some kind of warm, not going to be bright because that one is too bright for her, so I could kind of see something happening, because of the things she already had on. But if she didn't have that, I wouldn't have been able to see it, so,
so like the clothes and like the jewelry is like a signal.
Like for example, your hair and your dress weren't necessarily in the same type of intensity, same type of category, so one of them's got to be better than the other, or maybe they're both off or something, but reconciling like which one is working better for you and which one isn't. My guess was that your hair was too bright, like that was quite a lot in my face. And I think we swatched this Dress to Soft Autumn and Your Hair was something really vivid. So it just kind of set better. I thought, it just felt a little bit more comfortable, a little grey, but yeah, it just felt a bit more like your intensity. But they were both off, so
well, I think finally, I can tell like you're really passionate about all of this, and like I've been really enjoying like also taking in like your energy for how passionate you are about it, and making me even more interested. But like, how did you at the start of like your colour consultation like journey? How did you get interested in it?
Oh, wow, this is a good story. Okay, I'm gonna try to sort of summarize it because it is a longish story. But basically, my background is in set design for film sets, music videos, this kind of stuff. And when I was working in that industry, I was often dealing with characters as well, because of course that wasn't necessarily my job to dress the characters or deal with their makeup. There were specific departments for that, like the costume department, the makeup department. But as production designer, as sort of like designer for the whole thing, I needed to bear in mind what each of these visual departments were doing, including the lighting people, because they were lighting my set, so I wanted to know what everyone's plans are so that I know that it's going to come together nicely. And it was one funny story where I had, I went along to a trying on like dresses for one of the main characters for I think it was a short film. And the costumier brought like loads of clothing options along, and I had this idea in my mind that this guy at the beginning, he's going to look a bit scruffy and a bit like frail and lost and sort of, given up, kind of, because the film was showing his kind of growth journey, like sort of like his hero's journey of becoming like, wow, everyone's like best friend, favorite guy kind of thing. So I had this idea that we blossom him through the clothing, through everything, through the whole visual of the sets. But the clothes that I had in mind for him for the beginning, all the sort of pale colors and more drabby, grey down, washed out colors, looked very good on him, So he was some kind of a soft season. I can't remember if maybe soft summer or soft autumn, possibly soft summer. And so the costumier had a few of these soft summer looking clothes, and me thinking, oh wow, they're gonna look really drab, he'll look frail, blah blah blah. But he looked great, he was like glowing, radiant, and we were trying it on, and I was like, you're supposed to look bad, what's going on? And then he was like, oh yeah, these clothes always look good on me. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I need to find colours that look bad on you. And then I explained to him the story that I was going to put you in these drab colours at the beginning, and slowly we're going to increase the contrast, and I'm going to make you dashing in these beautiful bright colours for the end where you're like glowing. He said, oh no, those colours look horrible. Lo and behold, I put it on them, and just like with you, those wintry colours, of course I was basing the whole color idea on myself, because for me that's the order of process. The really drab colors look worse, and the really vivacious dark stark colors look best. So I just took it from my own self experience and tried to apply to him. Well, that didn't work, but luckily I learned loads on that sort of session, and I thought, right, I think I need to figure out how people's coloring works, because they're messing with my plan. I can't plan like this. So and that's what got me sort of researching on people's colouring, and then I stumbled upon colour analysis, and then I did various trainings, and here I am. I never actually stopped.
Oh, well, it's lovely to hear the journey of like how you got here, and like how like you can always just like encounter it one day and it can have such a big impact on your life. And I enjoy it so much. I would have never guessed that this is what I'm going to be. It's not a sort of thing that you in high school and you think, oh yeah, I'm going to become a colour consultant. It's not a thing that you think, all right. It's so niche. But sometimes life just puts you on your path, isn't it? So I just kind of went with the flow. And I can tell you're like really passionate and happy when you're doing it. Fairly obsessed. I'm sure I will be too. Well, I'm glad. We need more obsession on this. And hopefully people watching have taken inspiration as well, and maybe if this inspires them, they might go get their own session, or as follow some of your tips to try it at home. And
yeah, it's very fascinating, and I think it's honoring the self to be able to kind of just put yourself in a better light, right? Like all these colors that are creating these optical illusions that are not us, you know, it is an illusion on your face, the redness, the starkness, all that, that's not even you, right? So, but they sit on top of us, creating a confusing, untrue impression. That's not even us, you know. And imagine if you're like the receiving end, like, you know, I just met you and talking with you, I don't know that you're wearing the wrong color, that's why you look a bit stern, you know. I wouldn't know.
So true,
you know, I just think, oh yeah, she was a bit stiff, you know. That would be my impression of you, you know. Had you had showed up in one of those wintry colors that we swatched, you know, from your pile, and maybe you do come across to some people when you're wearing those colors, you know, without knowing, and without them knowing. So spending a little bit of time, like getting to know, you know, your vibration, you know, how intense you can go, you know, how light and dark you can go with colors, how colorful and gray you can go with colors, and how cool and warm you can go with colors. I just think it's really worth it, you know, even if it's just for fun a little bit, like you don't have to go full obsession like us, you know. But a little steps made a big difference. Even at the beginning when we were just comparing cool and warm, we could just say, it doesn't matter what was the intensity, we could still see, oh yeah, that's worse, that's better, you know. So tiny little bit of adjustments already going to make an improvement. So I just hope that everyone will give it a little bit of a go.
I hope so too. Well,
thank you.
Thank you. No, thank you too. Thank you for answering all my questions.
It was so nice having you here. Thank you.
It was lovely to meet you as well.
I hope you keep me posted on your progress.
I will. I'm going to have this in my wardrobe and I'm going to check all the rest of my clothes.
Yeah, if you find any more light spring colours, great. And especially if you find good findings like new stuff, new clothes, and when you feel really good, like a dress that's just perfect, you know, and then you put it on with a lipstick that's just perfect, you know. And then, or maybe if you find like a nice silver shampoo or something that just really helps the head, where you really see like, wow, I'm applying it and it's coming together and I'm feeling it, I can just really be myself. I love seeing that because people just feel so relaxed in their skin once it's just them, isn't it?
More confident as well.